Hi, I'm Elizabeth, a literary princess. If you are new here, welcome. I'm a 6-year PhD candidate in English literature, really focused on Victorian women novelists. And as you might expect, I love to read. Today I have the Love Hearts book tag for you. I was tagged by Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading, and this was created by What's Jess Reading. So obviously it is a Valentine's Day book tag. We are a few days off from Valentine's Day, and I figured I should do it before it gets any later. And also it's just a fun little tag based on those little candy hearts that you get at Valentine's Day. I feel like I always got these in elementary school and they don't taste very good. They're like chalky, but they're cute. And they say like, I love you or be mine. And it's just kind of adorable. So I love the concept for this tag. So there are 10 questions. Let's jump in. Question number 1, I love you. What is your all-time favorite romance book? So I'm not a huge reader of just like straight up romance. I like it to be interwoven into other things. So I like a lot of classic romances because they're not just about the romance, like they're social commentary and whatever. But my favorite has to be Persuasion by Jane Austen. This is my favorite Jane Austen book. I think it's her most romantic book. The letter from Captain Wentworth, I had read at my wedding. I've talked about that a lot. But yes, this has to be the top of the list for me for literary romances. Question number 2, be happy. What is a book that makes you incredibly happy each time you read it? That has to go to Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. Just because of the relationship between Sophie and Howl. So this is about a girl named Sophie who is cursed by a witch to be an old woman. And she ends up wandering out into the world and living in the moving castle of the wizard Howl, who is supposedly known for eating women's hearts. There is also a movie directed by Miyazaki, but they are very different, and I love them both for very different reasons. This is just funny. Like, their relationship is just sniping at each other constantly, and it makes me so happy. I've reread it a few times now, and every time it's just an absolute joy. Question number 3, date me, a book character you would date. This was kind of hard for me because I don't really have like crushes on fictional characters, or at least not book characters. TV, when I can like see a visual, I'm more likely to be like, ooh, nice. But books, I don't know. I'm just like, I want the characters together. But I did come up with more Jane Austen. There's a lot of Jane Austen here. That would be Mr. Knightley from Emma. Mr. Knightley is probably one of my favorite Jane Austen heroes. Him and Captain Wentworth are like tied. And everyone's always like, but he's so much older than her. It's kind of creepy. And I'm like, meh. It was the 19th century. I don't know. I just really like Mr. Knightley as a person. I like his character. I appreciate that he calls Emma out on her bullshit, and how kind he is and considerate of other people. I just really like that. And so I think if I had to date a fictional character, it would be him. And I think we'd get along quite well. Also, he has that, he's like, I don't know, he's like stable, like a sturdy person that you can lean on, and he can be your foundation, which is what I look for in a relationship. So yeah, I guess Mr. Knightley would be the one I would date. Question number 4, text me. Would you ever date a non-reader? I'm actually married to a non-reader. My husband, Steven, is not big on books. He's much more of a movie and video game guy, and Magic the Gathering, the card game. But yeah, I don't know, it doesn't bother me. I used to always say, like when I was younger, that I'd never date somebody that didn't read, but we have so much else in common that it really doesn't matter. Like, it's not something that, and you know, he does, like, we've read a book together, like I read out loud, and he really enjoyed that. So it's not that he doesn't like the stories, it's that he has a hard time sitting down and just reading. So he still loves stories, and we watch lots of movies and TV shows together, so I don't, like, it's not something that bothers me in our relationship. Like, I don't feel the need to be like, you need to read a book. Like, no, whatever. He can do what he wants, and he plays his video games, and I sit on the couch and read my book, and we're happy. Question number 5, dream on. What's your favorite romantic setting in romance books, and what would be your ideal date? So first, for the ideal date, right now, would be to go into Boston for the evening, have dinner, and then go to see Swan Lake at the Boston Ballet, which is currently showing. I love Swan Lake. My favorite ballet. It's beautiful. And I'm like, I want to go, but we can't. And yeah, but that would be my ideal date right now. I like dropped a hint or two to my husband, but I don't think he picked up on them. And anyway, it's super expensive. And we just, like, right now it's not a good time. Also, the weather is crap, and getting into the city would be awful. So for my favorite romantic setting, I like struggled with this for a while. I was like, I don't know. But I ultimately landed on, like, woods, especially snowy winter woods. Super romantic, which is a big feature in Winter Song by S.J. Jones, which is probably my all-time favorite fantasy book, and it is a fantasy romance, and it's a good one. I really like it, but yeah, there's lots of scenes in the woods. I just think that's very romantic. And also the main character, Liesl, has like this bright red cape. It's great. It's great visual. It just feels very romantic to me. Question number 6. What is your favorite romantic scene from a book? Another one that I really struggled with. I was like, I don't know. And I wanted like a different book for each answer, so I didn't want to be like the letter from Persuasion, although that's some good stuff. So I ultimately went with the second proposal scene from Pride and Prejudice. And I like it a lot because, first of all, like, Darcy admits that he was wrong. And that's incredibly romantic. But it's also just the way he talks to her. And these lines right here. This is from chapter 58. "If you will thank me," he replied, "let it be for yourself alone, that the wish of giving happiness to you might add force to the other inducements which led me on. I shall not attempt to deny, but your family owe me nothing. Much as I respect them, I believe I thought only of you." Elizabeth was too much embarrassed to say a word. After a short pause, her companion added, "You are too generous to trifle with me. If your feelings are still what they were last April, tell me so at once. My affections and wishes are unchanged, but one word from you will silence me on this subject forever." And Lizzie's like feeling super awkward at this point, but I just find that really beautiful. Also, even though this is not the way it happens in the book, I do have the scene from the 2005 movie in my head constantly, which is gorgeous, obviously. But just his words to her, the way I thought only of you, and if your feelings are still what they were, one word will silence me forever. I just think that's incredibly beautiful. And I think it's a very romantic scene, even if Elizabeth is feeling a little bit awkward and embarrassed. Question number 7, let's party. What 3 book characters would you invite to a party and why? And I had to think about this for a while. I'm like not a party person. Like with my friends, we get together and like we do kind of party, I guess, but it's not what you would think of as partying because we're all literature PhD students. So mostly it involves us drinking and talking about books. And my husband gets very annoyed with us. But, so I had to think about this for a really long time, and I came up with these 3 characters. First is Emily Wilde from the Emily Wilde series by Heather Fawcett. So she is a dryadologist at Cambridge, a very impressive scholar. She's kind of socially awkward, like me. The next one would be Effie. What's her last name? Sayre. Yes, this is a dust jacket. I lent the book to my mom. That's from A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. She is a literary scholar, looking into a book that I totally forget the name of, by Mirden. The book is Angahard, which is an epic about a mortal girl who falls in love with the fairy king. So again, another very scholarly person. And finally, Victoire from Babel by R.F. Kuang. So all 3 of these ladies are scholars. Victoire is a linguistics scholar. She is from Haiti. Haiti? Yep. Why do I doubt myself? So, why would I invite all 3 of these ladies? Because they are all scholarly. And we would just sit and drink tea and have a nice scholarly discussion, which is pretty much what I do at the parties I go to. So I feel like that would be a really interesting conversation to have all these women, all these incredibly intelligent women in a room to chat with. Question number 8, you rock. A romance book you would recommend to everyone. Or if you don't read romance, you can recommend another book that you love. So I'm always like, I wouldn't recommend one book to everyone because, you know, everyone has such different tastes. But I think if I did have to, it would be Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, which does have romance. I would not recommend it for the romance, for the romance, because the romance is... Sir. Sir. Please step away from Jane. Rochester's got big problems. I don't recommend it as a romance book, but I do recommend it as a book with romantic elements that I just think is worth it for everyone to read. It's a really good story. Jane's a great narrator and character. Charlotte Bronte's a great writer, and I think it's just worth it for people to read it if it sounds good to them. But yeah, know that the romance is kind of weird. So, but yeah, if I had to recommend one book to everybody, this would be it. Question number 9, Be Mine. What is a book that you really want to read or own? Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. It's not out yet. It comes out at the end of August, and I am impatiently waiting for it because I really want it. I'm like sending it signals, be mine. And as soon as it comes out, I will be in the store buying it because that's how I am with new releases that I'm really excited for. Question number 10 is to tag some booktubers. Since Valentine's Day is well over, I'm not going to tag anyone, but I would love to hear your answers to some of these questions down in the comments. And if you decide that you want to do the video, you are free to consider yourself tagged by me. Thank you so much to Kelly for tagging me in this. It was a lot of fun. And it sounds like Jess hasn't made videos in a while, just based on what Kelly said, but thank you to Jess for creating a really fun book tag. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my bookish content. It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.